What is going on, everybody, and welcome back to the CU04 YouTube channel. You join me for the first of 9 videos here over the summer. I hope you guys have a great summer, and of course we will be back for some League One action really soon. But for now, let's take a recap on the Carlisle United season for the 2022-2023 season. We did this at the start of the year for the year 2022, and we also did it at the end of last season. So I thought let's bring it back to kick off one of 9 scheduled videos that have been recorded. Starting then in July, then very quick one for July because there was only one game. I actually believe it was played on I think it was the last weekend of July as well. But Carlisle taking on Crawley Town in that 1-0 victory with Tristan Dennis scoring very early on. We battered Crawley in that game, to be fair, but we just couldn't get that final product to finish off the game by even more goals. But it finished 1-0. We got the 3 points to kick off the season, which is all you want really to start the season. Next off then, moving into August, we had a longer month with a few cup games in there, starting with a 1-1 draw away to Colchester, before we went down to League One's Shrewsbury, and we got beat in a 3-2 game there with Edmondson and Dennis with the goals. It was a really good game, that, to be fair. And then we welcomed Swindon to Brunton Park, which finished 1-1. Dennis with our goal. Stevenage 2, Carlisle 1 was the next game. Again, Dennis with the goal. Gillingham came to Brunton Park with John Mellish getting the goal there. And then we welcomed Manchester United under-21s as Jamie Devitt scored as we got beat 2-1. United with quite a strong team, if I remember. Ganacho was at that game, Charlie McNeil, some decent names for them there. Dennis scoring 5 goals though in the opening 7 games in all competitions for Carlisle, taking us to 2 wins, 2 draws and 3 losses, with 8 goals scored and 8 goals conceded in all competitions. Moving then into September, we had that 3-3 home game against Rochdale. John Mellish, Dennis and Huntington with our goals. Huntington in front of the Warwick. Then we played out a 0-0 at Mansfield on a Tuesday night before we welcomed another relegated team in AFC Wimbledon to Brunton Park. Callum Guy scored, followed by a Tristan Dennis goal. Dennis again. Carlisle then welcomed Fleetwood, League One Fleetwood, in the Papa John's Cup. It was a 1-1 game with Duncan Iden. There's a name I bet most of you forgot about. Duncan Iden scored for Carlisle, and then we went and won 4-2 on penalties. And Newport 1, Carlisle 1, Corey Whelan scored that. I think it was a half volley, if I'm not mistaken, to make it 1-1 and get the point down in Wales. And then Grimsby 1, Carlisle 2, and that was a rearranged fixture from earlier in the season. Moxon and Dennis with the goals. Moxon with his first Carlisle goal there. Dennis up to 9 goals already in the season. He was off to an absolute flyer at the start of last season. Moving into October then, a goalless draw against Crewe. Really boring game that. Before one of the best away days of the season, it was of course Victoria Park for Hartlepool. Moxon again, and then Amari Patrick with 2 goals and a 3-1 win there. Then Doncaster came to Brunton Park and we completed a clean sweep over the relegated teams at Brunton Park as we beat Doncaster by 3-0. Callum Guy and Jack Stretton scored twice. Barrow then knocked us out of the Papa John's Trophy with an electric firework display, and they finished 2-0 to Barrow. Before that game where Edmondson scored, Gibson scored, Edmondson then got sent off against Lane Tory in the 3-2 game, which we got an apology from the FA for getting the decisions wrong, but you know. And then Stockport, we went down to Edgeley Park, 2-0 loss before going to Prenton Park, staying on Merseyside, and Carlisle beat Tranmere. Dennis with 2 goals. One in about the first minute and then a penalty in the 54th minute. Great day out that was at Prenton Park. And then moving into November, we continued the great days out. First up though, we had a 2-1 win over Tranmere. That was in the FA Cup. Gibson and Jaden Harris with the goals. 3-3 against Harrogate. Edmondson, Charters and Moxon. Great goal from Charters, I remember. And then Walsall 0-0 at Brunton Park before that away day at the Plincy Stadium. Dennis with 2, Guy with 1, Whelan with 1. 4-1 win against Salford. Massive game. Before our FA Cup campaign ended in November, the same month that it started, with a 2-1 loss to Walsall. Obviously, maybe looking at goalkeeping mistakes for that loss. But Edmondson with our goal nonetheless, which took Moxon to 3 goals, Edmondson to 4, Dennis on 13. 9 wins, 9 draws and 7 losses, with a 38 goals scored, 30 goals against, and a +8 goal difference going into the month of December. Moving into December then, it started with that game at Brunton Park as we welcomed the London side Sutton United, and that finished in a 1-1 draw. Ryan Edmondson with the goal that looked offside, but it was onside. Northampton, then that was a rearranged. Was it a rearranged game? No, I don't think it was actually. No, I don't think it was. I think I've just made that up on the spot. But Northampton 2, Carlisle 1, Jack Harmon with our goal. Unfortunate not to get the points there. And then Carlisle beat Bradford on Boxing Day with a Paul Huntington backpost header in a 1-0 win there. Before ending our 2022 against Crewe Alexander with Feeney, Dennis and Moxon on the score sheet. A really good first half of the season. Really good end to 2022, but definitely better than 2021 that we had. That's for sure. As you can see on the screen with the stats, we had a plus 11 goal difference, more wins than draws and losses. It was all around a really good period for Carlisle. And then we moved into January, where we suffered our defeat there against Doncaster on New Year's Day. Tristan Dennis gifted the goal for us, but Doncaster were the better team in that game. Before we welcome Newport to Brunton Park with our new signing, J.K. Gordon, and J.K. Gordon scored against Newport. And then Dennis also got another one. Gordon looked the top player that day. And then we welcomed Hartlepool on a Tuesday night. Feeney and then Dennis got a double. Brilliant game that was. And then Rochdale away, where J.K. Gordon scored that solo run. Great finish from him. And then, of course, we battered, bashed and buried Barrow at Brunton Park. That was a mouthful. Mellish with 2, Patrick with 1, Dennis with the other, and Joe Garner with his first goal back for Carlisle. I was in the Warwick for that game. Really good game, especially beating them up by that scoreline. But a 5-1 win against Barrow there. And there's our transfer summary in the bottom corner too. February then, we started with that Harrogate game where Paul Huntington scored an own goal and Harrogate didn't register a shot on target. I mean, just how does that happen? And then Carlisle drew with AFC Wimbledon 0-0 before Mansfield put 4 past us in one half to come away with a 4-0 win at Brunton Park. Alfie McCalmont scored his first Carlisle goal against Colchester in that 1-0 win. Really early goal, I believe that was, around the 5th minute. And then Carlisle went to Crawley Town. I was actually in Glasgow for this game, I remember. It was on the radio. I was listening to it on Radio Cumbria. And Carlisle were just scoring for fun. And there we are, 5-2 win over Crawley Town. Joe Senior, Amari Patrick, Owen Moxon, Morgan Feeney again. Feeney's getting a few goals this season. And then John Mellish too. 17 wins, 11 draws, 11 losses, 82 goals scored, 62 goals scored, 44 goals against, and a plus 18 goal difference there. Into March then, started with a 2-0 win over Grimsby. That was the most weirdest game. Literally, McCalmont and Gibson scored in the first half, and that was the game. The game was done. It was a really boring game. I remember that one. Obviously, Grimsby just played Southampton, and then that game against Swindon, a 2-1 win for us. Armour with that absolutely ridiculous goal, and Edmondson with a 96th minute header before things started to dry up a little bit for Carlisle. A 0-0 draw against Stevenage, followed by a 0-0 draw against Bradford. Then Gilligan put 1 past us for a 1-0 win. I believe that was in about the 90. Was that like the 95th minute as well? I remember I was in Anfield for that game, and it was on the screen at the end, and it said Carlisle 0-0, and I was like, I'll get in. By the time we got back to the car, it was 1-0 Gilligan, and everyone else lost that day, like around us in the table. So, but yeah, Gilligan won, Carlisle 0 to end the month there in March, before moving into the back end of the season and looking into April. Into April we had the Lanes Orient game that finished 1-0 to Orient. Then we had the £10 to get in the ground. Carlisle United 2, Tranmere 0. Dennis double over Tranmere again for the second time this season. Walsall 0, Carlisle 0 in the league again. Carlisle 0, Northampton 0. And then we had that great game, didn't we, against Stockport. Every game from this point on was just class. Carlisle 2, Stockport 2. Mellish and Moxon, of course. Stockport were 1-0 up, and then we went 2-1 up, and then it was 2-2. Really good game. And Ben Barkley scored for Carlisle away at Barrow at Holker Street, where J.K. Gordon was sent off for retrospective action for an absolutely horrific assault. It should have really got time in prison, it was that bad. Before the Salford game, where they came away 3-2 winners, with Mellish getting sent off, and Dennis and Joe Garner with our goals, before moving into the final month of the season, and of course it is the month of May, and it started with that Sutton game that was just, I mean, it was a really tough game to watch. For fair play to anyone who travelled down to that one. An own goal give us the 5th place in the league, which meant we will take on Bradford in the playoffs. Bradford beat us 1-0 at their spot in the playoff first leg, but there was just something about that second leg that Carlisle were going to go and win, and Carlisle did win 3-1 on the day, 3-2 on aggregate. It was an own goal. JK maybe robbed of it, but an own goal by Andy Holliday, Callum Guy, and then Ben Barkley with that header, of course. And then the playoff final. Wow, okay, 1-1 it finished to Mary Patrick, and then 5-4 on penalties. Carlisle are going up. Carlisle are in League One. What a season it has been. Absolutely unbelievable season. That Stockport game was just crazy. It was just wow. Is all it was. Just wow is all I can say. Charters scoring the winning penalty, just everything about it. But there is the final League Two table. Then, of course, Carlisle winning the playoffs, and we finished with playing. We played 55 games. We won 23, drew 17, lost 15, scoring 79 goals, conceding 56 goals with a positive goal difference of 23, and we kept 20 clean sheets across the season. Thomas Hawley with 20 clean sheets, absolutely unbelievable from him. And then, of course, that penalty save in the playoff final as well. Dennis, our top scorer, I believe he finished on 22 goals in all competitions. Just a solid, I mean, you guys know it, but a really, really solid last few games from Carlisle. Just a solid season from Carlisle. Really, really good. Get that 5th position and then get it via the playoffs. It doesn't get much better, does it? It doesn't get much better than that. And then moving into some end of season awards. And on your screen is my team of the season. We've already covered that with a video on the channel, but just go through it. I had Paul Simpson as my manager, Thomas Hawley, Elliot Hewitt, John Guthrie, Carl, Jack Armour, Idris El Mourani, Owen Moxon, Elliot Watt, Tristan Dennis, Andy Cook, Sam Hoskins was my 4-3-3. I asked you guys on Instagram and Twitter who was your player of the season, and the CU04 fan voted player of the season was Owen Moxon with 78 votes. John Mellish got 29 votes, and Tristan Dennis got 12 votes. Owen Moxon is my player of the season as well. The best moment of the season was Ben Barkley's header against Bradford City. The best signing of the season has to be Owen Moxon, and the most underappreciated player has to be Jack Armour. So there we go then. The season is done. It is crazy. We're moving into summer then. So how the channel's going to work, there's still going to be loads of videos on the channel. I have pre-recorded and edited 9 videos, including this one, and they are all up for schedule, and they will be scheduled to go out week by week until the lead up to next season, where the videos will stay exactly how they have been. I asked you guys again on Instagram, how do you want me to structure the videos for next season, and you guys wanted me to keep it the same. I think there was 42 votes difference for me to keep it the same and me to change it. So obviously a lot of you want me to keep it the same, so I'm going to keep it the same for you guys. And I just wanted to say as well, a massive thank you very much for all the subscribers, all the views, the likes, the comments, and just everything. It's been an absolutely incredible season, and I hope we can retain that incredibleness going into next season, into League One. But for now, I have been CU04. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in next week's video. Enjoy the summer, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.
I never miss, that's fact. Taking big swings, jam to the bat. Put me in the ring, you'll go out in a bag. Cause I sing what I mean and I bring it to the mad light.